Doping remains the biggest thorn in the flesh of Kenyan athletes, with the country leading Africa in the number of cases where almost 60 runners have been charged or sanctioned with anti-doping violations. CGTN's Mohamed Abubakar has been speaking with renowned Kenyan sports writer and the 2012 Athletics Press Award winner, Elias Makori.
All right, Elias, I'm sure you must be wondering why I'm holding this newspaper. But I'd like us to start off with this editorial that you penned earlier this week on the 5th of May, calling for an all-inclusive approach in the fight against doping here in Kenya. Maybe just start by highlighting some of the steps you mentioned in this piece.
Thank you for having me. First of all, the piece was inspired by what Athletics Kenya came up with as some new regulations they're looking at. One, they're thinking of banning any athlete who's been caught doping and has served a sentence from competing even after finishing his or her suspension. And that's what inspired me to look more and try and explore other avenues. And then we had this statement by Moses Tanui, the 1991 world champion in the 10,000 meters, who's won the Boston Marathon twice. He said that the approach that will work is the athletes to come together among themselves and talk to each other, accept confessions, and then from there, based on the confessions, they can now follow up who administered these drugs, which pharmacies were involved, which agents, coaches, or doctors were involved. So, a system where the athletes weed themselves out, which I thought was quite interesting, and that's why I said perhaps this also should be explored.
Elias, in your view, do you think Kenyan athletes are being sacrificed at the altar internationally, of course led by entities like the AIU, as many people think here, or are they guilty as charged?
Well, I think they're guilty as charged. There are some who have, taken drugs, confessed, been suspended, and they are back competing. And they have actually been talking to the other athletes about the dangers of using drugs. And if you look at the AIU, the Athletes Integrity Unit, if you look at the list of banned athletes, I think currently Kenya has the biggest number at about 58 athletes. Again, a large percentage of the problem comes about through naivety. Most of the athletes are from very humble backgrounds, very limited education, and when an agent comes from Europe, they take everything he or she says as gospel truth. One could be given a drug, and then the manager will tell the athlete that this is for your knee injury, for your hamstring injury. Little does the athlete know that it's actually a banned substance. It's actually a problem that is there and we cannot run away from.
For many years, Elias, you've been trying to call in the government and Athletics Kenya to develop tough anti-doping measures. What have the challenges been for you as you try to drive this message home?
The biggest challenge has been sustaining this conversation at national level. Doping is real, doping is serious, doping is terrible in Kenya, and it should be a conversation that is actually prominent on the floor of the National Assembly Parliament. The biggest challenge has been to get this political class to talk about it and take action about it. If the politicians, if Parliament could take it more seriously, keep on improving these laws and criminalize doping, because once these athletes are in jail, only then will the other people who are tempted to dope see that it's a serious offense. And it's something that coincidentally, just this week, Haile Gebrselassie, the Ethiopian legend, has also supported. These people belong in jail.
All right, Elias, I would have loved to give you a firm handshake and thank you for being with us. It's always a pleasure having you talk to us.
Thanks, it's a pleasure, and looking forward to discussing more on this issue.